Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of College Sucks. I'm your host, Davia Samantha Davidson, a student affairs professional who has been in college most of my life. And we are at the end of the academic year. Yes, academic year 2024 to 25, at least in Jamaica and a couple other parts of the world, has been completed, and you are now going on your summer break if you are on this side of the world. And I would not be me without coming to you with some advice, because you just don't get to go home and rest and party and have a good time if you're returning to college. Even if you're not returning to college, if you have completed and you are going to be seeking employment, you still have work to do this summer. Okay, so I want to talk to you in this episode about scholarships and summer hustles, making money moves over the holidays. College Sucks, episode 25, the final episode for season 1. Cheers to that. Stay tuned. All right, so you've made it through the semester and you are exhausted. I know, because I'm exhausted. It's been one of those semesters that felt like 5,000 years. I'm telling you, it was really rough. And you're thinking, oh, I really need a break. I need to rest. I need to recharge. But let's be so for real. If you are not making money moves over this summer holidays, you're going to find that if you were not earning next semester, you'll be yearning for money because you didn't make the most of your summer holidays. Now, some students I know, like in Jamaica and other parts of the world, have gone on cultural exchange work and study programs. So they're in the US, Canada, or the UK, whichever countries take exchange students, and they are working through the summer to help with tuition and cost for education for the next year. So I know some people have taken steps, but these programs are not free. They are not cheap, and some people were not able to afford them. So for those of you who did not go overseas to work and travel, you should be trying to get a job in your community, probably at the college that you attended. I know universities have a quota where they offer employment to students, and it works especially if you have summer school anyway. It would be good to get a job on the campus that you're on. But I'm getting ahead of myself, and I love to put things in categories. So let's go back to the first thing. Let's talk scholarships. No, I cannot impress upon you how important it is that you apply for scholarships that are available and for which you qualify. As a matter of fact, apply for some that you probably do not qualify. So let's say they're asking for a grade point and you have not met the requirement. Try anyway, because you never know. There are tons of times that people do not get enough applicants, and so they might lower the grade requirement, that type of thing. All I'm saying is you need to apply for scholarships. This oftentimes is free money that you earn by applying and for the grades that you have already received. You're doing yourself a disservice, and you owe it to yourself to give yourself a chance, right? Student loans are expensive all over the world. I've been saying that the cost of tertiary education is becoming prohibitive. It's more and more difficult to afford it. The whole idea of taking a gap year through after high school and then going to university, it can't work, because what you will make in that year can't pay for a year of college. It's just the reality. So unless you are doing a overseas work and travel program, your parents have the money, or you've taken a student loan, and even then, student loans oftentimes only covers tuition. So you're still going to need your day-to-day money. College has a lot of miscellaneous cost, and once you're in a social setting, you're always going to need a little bit more money than you thought you would. All right, so let's get into scholarships. So the first thing is that you definitely need to have a plan. So you need to do a Google search and try to find the scholarships that are available to you. Now, some of the deadlines are like the end of this month. Some of them go up until June because they need time to shortlist and possibly interview or decide in time for money to be given out for the next academic year, which starts at the end of August. So you're around the period where you really need to be zoning in and applying. So you need to look for everyone. Anywhere you hear that money is being given away, you need to be actively pursuing it. So you need to ensure that you have copies of your transcript. And if you're overseas, people that you trust who can pick them up if they need to be mailed out. You need to make sure that if you have any balances at your college, that you work out a payment plan with them so that you can have those cleared, because a lot of universities will not release any documentation if you have money outstanding for them. And it's kind of tricky because if I had the money, I wouldn't owe you, and I need this transcript to get the scholarship. But hey, the people where universities are a business, and so I'm sure you can appeal to them or whatever if you do have some money outstanding. But let's say you don't, you need to make sure that you put in requests for status letters and transcripts, which tend to be necessities for the scholarship process. Now, the thing that students find hardest in the scholarship process is where they have to write an essay. Like, they find it so difficult. They'll say to me, Miss, I don't want to be begging, or I don't want to be telling everyone my business. And listen, in the age of AI, you can find a way to tailor your story with assistance, no lying, but in a voice that is not beggy, that will make you uncomfortable, but that is honest. And you actually need to get into the habit of telling your story and explaining why you would be deserving of a scholarship, why you need it, and what you plan to do having received it to ensure that you finish and are in service to others. So make sure that you are able to tell your story. You should be able to articulate what challenges you're having and why you're deserving. The next thing, a lot of times, now the scholarship process, sometimes it's simple and easy, straightforward, and sometimes it can be quite complicated. And I know after the end of a grueling academic year, end of semester, all of those course assignments that you had to write, you are feeling some level of burnout. But at the end of the day, like I said, you owe it to yourself to give yourself a base, some kind of financial standing. And it just means that you just need to push forward. You need to keep going. So you have to treat this like an assignment, like a job, and you have to pay attention to submission deadlines, required documents, editing, ensuring that you are void of errors, simple things. You know what I mean? I find, like, I'll be completely honest with you, I am not the best at filling out forms, okay? I have filled out numerous forms and actually have had even something as simple, it's so embarrassing to say, like the passport office be like, girl, there is no way your date of birth is this week. That's when you filled out the form. So, sometimes your mind's eye will give you inaccuracies, and that's why it's important to always find somebody to run things by. Okay, you have to have a trusted editor in your corner, somebody who is able to read things over. And as old as I am now, I still submit things to my friends, my sister, and I'll be like, give it a quick one over, because a lot of times I'm doing this and I'm tired and I'm fussy and I just want to make sure that I'm sending out the proper thing. It's the same for scholarships. And as someone who has had success with scholarships, I am telling you that the major step is applying. It really is. I have gone up against tons of people I never thought I was qualified, and I got it. So if I can get it, you can get it. I promise you. I'm special, but I'm not that special. And you are special, and you can be very special. But the first step is to apply. Don't get lost. in all the sauce of how difficult it is to get paperwork together. Just come up with a plan, decide which scholarships you're going to apply for, get all your documents together, pay attention to the deadline, write your scholarship essay, ensure somebody has looked it over, and anyone that you've listed as a reference, ensure that you reach out to them so they are not caught unaware and that these are people who will actually speak in your favor. Get all of those done and just click submit, okay? Get you that scholarship if you can. The next thing I'm going to say to you is, no matter what your summer plans are in terms of employment or how you plan to finance your next academic year, if you are in Jamaica, I am going to ask you to take out an insurance policy on yourself. And it's not what you think. I need you to apply for a student loan. Now, you may be saying, but I'm not taking the student loan. Fine, don't take it. But you don't want a situation where your plans for the summer, where you thought you were going to earn all the money to pay your tuition, where you thought a family member or your family, they were going to be able to cover it, and then something happens. We live in Jamaica, it's hurricane season, and you just don't know what can happen, and I'm praying nothing happens. But a student loan is like an insurance policy on your tuition. You apply for it, and if you don't want it, you don't use it, you don't take it, you defer it, you cancel it. But you want to make sure that come hell or high water, you are going back to school for your next semester. Nothing is going to stand in your way. So no matter what your plans are, I suggest that you meet the student loan deadline and you apply for it. Yes, you may lose some fees, but think about it. Life is unpredictable. It's why we insure our cars. It's why we have health insurance. It's why we do all of those things. Okay? You just need to ensure that you have a rainy day plan for your next academic year, no matter what your summer plans are. Okay, so let's jump into it now. Earning over the summer. Now, I know that it's not easy, especially if you've not lined up work like on an exchange program or with an entity already. But you may have to get creative because, like I said, if you are not earning, you are going to be yearning all through the semester. You need to find a job. You need to find something to do. So if you have skills, if you could do lashes, if you can sew curtains, if you could sew uniforms, if you can, you need to find a hustle that works for you. So there are a number of government agencies that give summer employment here in Jamaica. You need to go and you need to apply. You're probably a little bit late, but you still need to try. All right. Sometimes we're a huge tourism country. And if you live in a tourist resort area, summer is a time where they need more hands, they need more help. And so you may want to look into going to the hotels and see if they'll take you on for the summer. But like I said, you need to be working. You need to find something to do because you are going to need money next semester and you need to think about how you're going to get it. So another thing that you could do is you have family members that have businesses who they are doing plumbing or electrical work or construction, male or female. This is not limited to your gender. You can ask them if they can give you some work. And a lot of times they will say yes because they can pay you less. And yes, because they need the help. A lot of people who are plumbers and doing woodwork, construction, they always need help. They're always behind on people's work. So, hello. And then the next thing that you can definitely do is put some of the skills that you've learned in college to use. So you could do cashiering. You could help somebody with their books if you're an accounting student. Like you could offer to work helping with payroll, making bank drops. Like there's so many things that you could do. But the thing is to keep at your mind, at the front of your mind, that you need to be earning legitimate money this summer. And so let's say you've been trying already, you haven't found anything. Now you need to dig deep and think, what skills do I have that could be put to use? Now, there are always people who need domestic help. There are always people who need help with babysitting their children. There are people who need their hair done, their lashes done, their nails done. Like, I know a lot of women on this campus have their little, salons that they operate during the semester where they charge less and they do a really good job. They've been practicing on all the students here. So they have developed skills. Put these skills to use because you can offer a lower price. You can offer to go to people's homes. So, people are busy. They can't be bothered to go to the salon. Go in Canva, get a business poster up and everything and just advertise in your circle. Hey, I could do your hair. I could do this. Do you need some deep cleaning on your house? Listen, do not say anything is beneath you because there are some students now who have gone overseas to work in housekeeping. They are cleaning bathrooms, making beds, doing laundry. The only thing is that you're making foreign currency, but if you're not able to go over there and do it, you could still do it here. We have homes in Jamaica that need to be cleaned too. So I'm just saying, be creative. Think of what you could do. I remember a couple years ago, a student of mine, she was majoring in marketing for her bachelor's in business. And her job over the summer was to make cold calls. This is where you call people and try to sell them things. And she was selling a book. So an author hired her to try to move as many copies of her book as she could. And she thrived in it. She was like, Miss, I enjoyed it. I worked on my communication skills. And let me tell you, she did that in her third year. Her final year, they had to run a business. And I am telling you that the summer that she spent having to call people, trying to sell them a book. And when you think about it, a book is a luxury sometimes because you're like, I don't want another book. I mean, I will always say yes to another book, but you know what I mean. And she had to just be networking, advertising, calling people, and she sold so many books. So I was not surprised when she opened the business, which was a part of their course requirement, that she was ultimately successful because she had garnered so much experience in sales. And let's say you don't get something like that. Try call centers. Try being a security guard somewhere. I mean, just try to get yourself a job. Now, there's some persons who are part of their course requirement is internship and work experience. You're going to be working anyway. So sometimes it lasts for 4 weeks. If you do a really good job, they may keep you on. So you really want to be putting your best foot forward to see if something that was temporary, just 4 weeks, could possibly turn into all of the summer. So that's also an opportunity for you. But let's just say that you don't get a job. The summer is still not to be wasted because when you're not doing something, it's kind of a shock to the system where you were occupied all the time to just really having nothing to do. If you don't find yourself with a job, you need to develop a routine. You need to wake up at the same time. You need to go to bed at the same time. You need to be exercising. You need to be journaling. You need to be meditating. You should not return to the next semester on campus the same way you left it. Like, summer is also a time for reflection and a really good time to grow. So for me personally, because I work in academia, we get at least 6 weeks off in the summer, sometimes more. And I always use it as an opportunity to get really fit. Like, I walk 2 times a day. I plan better meals because I have more time. I read books. I try to learn something new. So I try not to return to the next academic year the same way I left it. And that's something I'm going to encourage you to do. Like, the more you can master yourself and improve yourself, the better off you will be. So summer is a very good time to be able to do that. So let's say you don't get a job. You could try to volunteer. that works towards your work experience. And when you're looking for a job, work experience matters, even though they know you're just coming out of college. So as much as you can garner while you're in college, if you can volunteer, if there's somebody in your family, they can't pay you, but you can do work where you're going to learn vital skills. I encourage it. And let's say that doesn't happen either. If you have the internet, YouTube University. Learn how to do editing, learn how to do design work, learn how to code. You would be surprised. You would be surprised the number of skills you could actually leave the summer with if you just put a plan together, a schedule, and just try. You are not, I repeat, not to return to school the same way you left. Okay, you need to come back with something. All right. And some of the ways in which you can improve yourself, I don't want to leave without saying this, is that you could do free online courses with Coursera, Google, or Udemy. So those are places you could try to, there might be courses in things that you might be interested in. Look them up, because if you're not going to be working, you're just going to be sitting home, you're going to eventually become depressed. If you are just at home, probably just doing chores all day, just in the house, the summer is hot, like you need to be on a schedule and a routine. You need to find something to do. Okay, they say the devil finds work for idle hands, so you need to ensure that you are not idle at all this summer. And here's a good time to interject that although this is the end of season 1 for College Sucks, I'm going to be having a College Sucks summer book club series. Yes, I will be exploring 8 books over the summer that I think could really change your game in college and beyond, really just improve your life in general. I'm a huge fan of reading, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, I can't read, but honestly, I can't be I can't be bothered to read. Like, they don't like reading, but I promise you can't live everything, right? You can't go through every experience. There's no need to do that. Books are so valuable in that they give you new ways of looking at things, and you can learn from other people's experiences. There might be something that resonates with you. A book can actually change your life. I mean, I didn't take fitness so seriously until I read Atomic Habits, to be honest. And it's one of the books that we'll be exploring in the book club. So once I put those podcasts up, I hope that you'll be listening to them, whether you're working, yes or no. I think the books will add value to your life, and you should definitely check me out. All right, so that's it for this episode. I'm not trying to make it too long, but I just want to remind you that you need to be engaged this summer. I know that you'll be saying, I'm tired, I can't be bothered, but listen to me. It's not vacation time when you still have work to do. And that work is setting up yourself financially for the next academic year. So apply for your student loan, apply for those scholarships, and get yourself a summer hustle. If this episode resonated with you and you think it could help somebody over the summer who's just planning to coast, and you really want to nudge them and be like, hello, you need to get your money up, please share. And as always, please like and subscribe. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Please enjoy the break. Even though you're supposed to be working on all of those things, still find time to do self-care, to rest, and to heal, because sometimes the semesters are traumatic. Okay. And there's some healing that is necessary. So whatever you need to do to get you back into the right frame so that you come back to school refreshed, energized, and ready to get them A's, you need to do it. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.